Hi everyone, this is going to be a quick tutorial on common mistakes made while building your bridge. So first off, we're just going to kind of go over what we're going to be doing. So I have already drawn out my bridge shape. I used a ruler to make nice and straight. I also counted all the squares, each individual square, and then I divided that number by 2, so I'd make sure that my bridge was going to be balanced and symmetrical on both sides. As you can see, if I fold my paper in half, all this stuff is going to be the same on both sides. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my wax paper and I'm going to put it over it. And to make sure it doesn't go anywhere, I'm going to grab some tape and I'm going to tape the sides. I don't need to tape all 4 sides, I just need enough so it doesn't move around. So I'm just going to tape this side, and I'm going to tape this side. So now it's nice and flat, and I'm sorry for the glare. Hopefully we can still see and I can communicate well with you guys. So make sure you have your tools. I have a couple popsicle sticks and some toothpicks to show you guys with. And you also have your wood glue. This wood glue is not going to take your skin off. Some wood glue does. This is Elmer's wood glue, and it is safe if you get it on your fingers. It comes off really easy. So, what you're going to start by doing for first common mistake number 1 is people will start putting these on, and when they're gluing, they just kind of like have them kind of sort of touch, kind of like that. That's not going to hold together very well. You want them to at least overlap just a little bit, because you see that is then connected. If you try to glue it together like this, it's going to be very flimsy. It's not going to stay together super great. So you're going to take your wood glue, open it up. You don't want to screw the black part, you just do the clear part, and just until this little black top goes away and you can see some extra space down in here. So you can see that. So what I'm going to do is, for me, what I do, you can kind of make these globs of glue and then place toothpicks on there to hold it all together. What I like to do is I put the since I'm using popsicle stick right now, I'm going to place some glue on there. And I'm going to place this next one. You see it's overlapping. And see that? It is overlapping. And then I'm just going to keep it there. There is a little bit of glue that's on my paper, on my wax paper, and that is totally fine. We're going to be taking this part of our bridge when we're done making the top. We're going to take it and we're going to pull it off the wax paper. But for now, it's okay if it's glued on the wax paper. It'll come off nice and easy. That's why we're using wax paper. So, common mistake number 2 is people sometimes will forget to put a bottom on your bridge. Because it's just kind of the bottom, it's easy to forget. It's super duper important to have a bottom on your bridge, because if you don't have a bottom on your bridge, we won't be able to put it on our little contraption that helps us measure how much weight your bridge can hold without breaking. So make sure you put a bottom on your bridge. So that's common mistake number 2. Also, common mistake number 3 goes along with number 1. It's just commonly with toothpicks. If you want to use just toothpicks, that's totally fine. If you want to use a combination of popsicle sticks and toothpicks, that's great. Either way works super fine. If you can see, this one is a little bit burnt. I try to make sure I do not use ones that are burnt. They will not be super strong and they will break easy. So I'm going to put this one off to the side. Another thing, like I said, very, very similar with a lot of the other ones. If I put it together and it's just like this, there is not very much of a connection. I don't know if you can see that super well, but that connection isn't very strong. In order to make it stronger, you have to make it overlap in some way. What I did with mine when I built my bridge is I overlapped it at least so it was like went over half. And I grabbed another one and I had it go over half. Obviously it was down here, so I had it going over half and half. And so that way it was nice and strong and sturdy. Because if you have it just kind of like flimsy like that, that's not going to work super great. However, I also understand that if you had made a mistake in the beginning, that's totally fine. What we can do to help remedy that mistake, to make it better, is if you had your toothpicks and they weren't quite touching when you first started gluing things down, instead of just being like, oh, I have to start all over, just take another toothpick or another popsicle stick if you were using popsicle sticks and glue it on the top. And it's just like you had glued it, like the half and half thing like I showed earlier. So instead of just giving up and being like, oh no, I have to start over, you can just make it better by taking another one and gluing it on top. And ta-da, it's like almost like a piece of tape. You're taping things together. So once you're done with that, you're going to be able to let it dry and we're going to take it off. And kind of be careful as we're taking it off, not to break your bridge. And then we'll just make sure that if something does break, you can glue it back together with the glue. And also make sure that things are touching, because remember, if they are not touching or if they are just touching just a little bit, it's not going to hold very well. It's not going to be super strong, and your bridge is going to fall apart when you just try to take it off the wax paper, and we won't be able to try to see how much weight your bridge can hold. So when you're done building this side, just check, make sure everything's connected, you have all the lines that you drew down, because that's another issue that I actually had, because I sometimes, I forgot a couple lines, and so I had to go in and I had to do it again. Well, not do it again, but I had to put it back on and be like, oh, I need to add this line on there, and so I just glued it on really fast, and then I kept going. And that's totally fine. If we make mistakes, that's okay, because we can fix things. We can add different popsicle sticks. We can glue things back together. It's totally okay. So just make sure that when you're done, just check, make sure everything's connected. And so that way you are all good to go and we can set it off to the side, wait for it to dry. Okay, good luck on your bridges. Have a great time.